supporting from afar. And you know, my daughter Riley is going to be on a new show coming to Bravo, Next Gen. They just announced it last week. Yeah, so I hope you guys support my daughter Riley Burruss. Y'all seen her grow up on the Real Housewives, and now she's going to be on a new show. It's coming June 3rd, so check her out too.
What tips did you give her about entering? I mean, obviously she's a part of reality television in the past, but to a different level.
Yes, a different level. And so I told her, when you're filming, stand on everything you say. Don't ever go back and try to act like you didn't say something so they can rewind the tape on you.
Roll the tape.
You have to own it, stand on it. And if you need to apologize, but don't lie about saying stuff.
Absolutely.
Because we be having a lot of liars on those shows, you know. We don't want to be, no.
Kandi Burruss always seemed like the woman who had it all: money, fame, success, and a family that looked picture perfect on television. To her fans, she was unstoppable, the type of person who could rise above anything life threw at her. But behind the smile, behind the bright lights of reality TV and the glamorous lifestyle, Kandi's story has been filled with heartbreak and deep family wounds that no amount of money or success could ever heal. Recently, Kandi broke down in tears, sharing devastating news about her family, and it reminded everyone that even the strongest people sometimes carry the heaviest burdens. This is the emotional story of Kandi Burruss, the tragedies she's faced, the betrayal she's endured, and the family drama that left her in tears once again. From the outside, Kandi's life looked like a dream. Born in College Park, Georgia, she had music in her blood from a young age. By the time most kids were still trying to figure out what they wanted to do in life, Kandi was already making a name for herself in the music industry. At just 15 years old, she joined the legendary R&B group Escape, and her talent quickly stood out. Her voice, her determination, and her songwriting skills pushed her into the spotlight.
It's been about a year since you announced you were leaving Housewives. Did you have any FOMO or regret knowing cameras were back up, or is it all that chapter is closed and you've moved on?
Actually, I feel like it's closed for me and I moved on. I thought to myself when I was first making the decision, I was kind of like, ugh, is this smart? Like, am I doing the right thing? And anytime you've done something for 14 years straight, it's kind of like hard to walk away from it.
While other teens were going to dances or worrying about grades, Kandi was in studios, recording tracks, and traveling the world. It looked glamorous, but it also came with struggles most people never saw. Kandi's childhood wasn't easy. She grew up in a tight-knit but complicated family. Her father wasn't present in her life, and that left a deep scar that would later shape the way she raised her own children. Even as a child, she carried the weight of wanting stability, wanting love, and trying to prove she could make it on her own. That determination fueled her, but it also meant she had to grow up faster than most kids her age. And just when her career was taking off, tragedy struck in a way that forever changed her world. Her older brother, Patrick Riley, died in a car accident when he was just 22 years old. Kandi was only 15. At the very moment she was stepping into her dreams, she was forced to bury the person who had been her biggest supporter. Patrick wasn't just her brother, he was her protector, her role model, the one who kept the family together when things got rough. Losing him shattered her. Kandi later revealed that the pain was so unbearable that she didn't even know how to grieve. Instead of collapsing under the weight of the loss, she went to school the very next day, putting on a brave face and pretending nothing had happened. But inside, she was broken. That loss became a shadow that followed Kandi into adulthood. She never stopped thinking about her brother, never stopped wondering what life would have been like if he had lived. She honored his memory by naming her daughter Riley after him, but the pain of losing Patrick was something she carried silently for years. And it was only the beginning of a lifetime of heartbreak. Kandi pushed through her grief and poured herself into her career. She became one of the most successful female songwriters in the industry, penning hits for TLC, Destiny's Child, and countless others. She built businesses, made money, and created an empire that proved she was more than just a singer, she was a powerhouse. But behind that success, life kept testing her in the cruelest ways. In 2009, when it seemed like Kandi was finally finding happiness again, tragedy came knocking at her door once more. She had fallen in love with a man named Ashley A.J. Jewell, and for a brief moment, it looked like she had found someone she could spend forever with. They got engaged, and Kandi's fans celebrated her happiness. But their love story ended in the most devastating way. Just months after they called off their engagement, AJ got into a violent fight outside an Atlanta strip club. He was struck in the head during the altercation and died from his injuries. Kandi was heartbroken. She later shared that she had spoken to AJ just the day before his death, never imagining it would be the last time. The pain was overwhelming not only for her but also for the 6 children AJ left behind. Kandi had grown close to them, and now they were fatherless. At the same time, she lost another loved one, her uncle Ralph, leaving her grieving multiple losses in the same period. For most people, that much pain would have been unbearable. But Kandi, once again, put on a brave face for the world. Still, grief was never far away. In 2018, her beloved Aunt Hazel passed away just 2 days after Christmas. It seemed like every time the holidays came around, Kandi was reminded of loss instead of joy. By then, her once large family had grown smaller and smaller, and Kandi often spoke about how much it hurt to keep losing the people who had shaped her life. The holidays became bittersweet, a time of celebration for most, but a reminder of emptiness for her. But as if death and loss weren't enough, Kandi also had to endure betrayal and family drama that cut just as deep. Her mother, Mama Joyce, became one of the most outspoken figures on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Joyce loved her daughter, but she never held back her opinions, even when those opinions left scars. When Kandi fell in love with Todd Tucker, a producer from the show, Mama Joyce publicly accused him of being an opportunist, saying he was only with Kandi for her money. She even spread rumors about his family, going so far as to insult his late mother on national television. The feud between Mama Joyce and Todd became one of the most explosive storylines on the show, but for Kandi, it wasn't entertainment, it was her real life. Imagine preparing for your wedding while your own mother is publicly attacking the man you love. Imagine trying to build a marriage under the weight of rumors, insults, and family wars. Kandi found herself caught in the middle, torn between the mother who raised her and the man she wanted to build a future with. And just when things couldn't get any worse, Todd's mother passed away suddenly before she and Joyce could ever make peace. That regret hung heavy over Kandi's marriage, a painful reminder that sometimes words can't be taken back. But perhaps the hardest betrayal came from someone Kandi once called her sister. Tamika Scott, her former ex-skate bandmate, accused Kandi of sleeping with music mogul Jermaine Dupri's father, an accusation that wasn't true but one that stuck with her for years. The rumor painted her success as the result of scandal instead of talent, and it hurt Kandi deeply. To be betrayed by someone she trusted was a wound that cut almost as deep as losing family members. Even after Tamika later admitted she was wrong, the damage was already done. Through it all, Kandi tried to keep her focus on being a good mother to her daughter Riley. But even there, pain found her. Riley's father, Russell Block Spencer, was largely absent from her life, and Kandi had to watch her daughter grow up with the same void she herself had experienced as a child. In one heartbreaking moment on the show, Kandi broke down in tears as she admitted she couldn't stop her daughter from feeling the pain of not having a father around. Despite her money, despite her success, there were some wounds she simply couldn't protect her children from. And now, once again, Kandi has shared sad news that brought her to tears. Another family crisis, another loss, another reminder that her life has been shaped as much by heartbreak as by triumph. Fans saw the raw emotion in her voice, the tears she couldn't hold back, and it reminded everyone that no matter how strong she seems, Kandi Burruss is still human. She has endured loss after loss, betrayal after betrayal, and yet she keeps moving forward. The truth is, Kandi's story is about more than fame or reality TV drama. It's about resilience. It's about a woman who has faced some of the deepest pain imaginable, burying a brother, losing the love of her life, being torn apart by family feuds, and being betrayed by people she trusted. And through it all, she never stopped building, never stopped fighting, never stopped showing the world that you can turn pain into power. But here's the twist, even with all her strength, Kandi still has moments when the weight of it all becomes too much. Her tears remind us that even the strongest people break. Even the most successful women have scars they carry every single day. And that's why fans connect with Kandi so deeply. Not because of her wealth, not because of her fame, but because of her vulnerability. She shows us that it's okay to cry, it's okay to admit the pain, and it's okay to fall apart sometimes. What matters is getting back up. Kandi Burruss has proven that life can knock you down again and again, but it can't take away your spirit unless you let it. She's living proof that you can lose everything and still rise. And maybe that's the lesson in her tears, that even in sadness, there's strength, and even in loss, there's love that never dies. So while fans may see her as a star, behind it all, Kandi is still that young girl from Georgia who learned early on how cruel life can be, but also how powerful resilience truly is. And no matter what heartbreak comes next, one thing is certain: Kandi Burruss will keep standing tall, even through the tears. Through every high and low, Kandi Burruss has shown that strength does not mean the absence of pain. It means pushing forward even when your heart feels heavy, even when life throws obstacles at you that would make most people give up. For Kandi, strength has been about finding the will to keep moving forward when her spirit feels drained, when the weight of family struggles presses hard, and when memories of loss creep back into her heart. Kandi's journey is not just about fame or success, it is about survival. It is about learning how to rebuild when the ground beneath her feet feels like it has been shaken to pieces. To truly understand the tears she shed recently, we have to remember all the battles she has fought quietly behind the scenes. Fame has only magnified her challenges, turning private heartbreak into public discussion. And yet, time after time, she has chosen to face her truth instead of hiding from it. The passing of her brother, a wound that never fully healed, still lingers in the background of her life. That kind of loss never truly disappears, it becomes part of who you are. For Kandi, her brother's memory is both a source of pain and a source of strength. His absence reminds her of what she lost, but it also pushes her to live in a way that honors him. Every time she feels tired, every time she questions whether she can keep going, she remembers that she is carrying a legacy bigger than herself. That realization forces her to rise again, no matter how many times life knocks her down. Beyond grief, Kandi has faced the kind of family drama that can break even the strongest bonds. Reality television may have shown us the loud arguments, the betrayals, and the hurtful words, but what viewers don't always see is the emotional toll that lingers long after the cameras are gone. When family trust is broken, when relatives you love deeply wound you, the pain cuts deeper than any outside criticism ever could. For Kandi, her tears are not just about frustration, they are about love colliding with disappointment. They are about the aching wish for unity in a family where conflict too often overshadows love. Her role as a mother has added another layer to her struggles. Motherhood, while a blessing, comes with its own burdens, especially when the world is watching and judging your every move. Kandi has had to balance being strong for her children while also admitting to herself that she is human, that she cannot always be perfect, and that sometimes the stress becomes too much. Raising children in the spotlight, where outsiders constantly criticize and compare, brings pressures that most parents never have to endure. But still, Kandi stands firm, doing everything she can to create a safe and loving space for her children to grow in, even while fighting her own silent battles. Her marriage has also faced storms. Every couple goes through challenges, but when your relationship is dissected publicly, the smallest cracks can become headlines. For Kandi, protecting her family and her love has required patience, sacrifice, and an unshakable belief in fighting for the people she cares about. It has not been easy, and there have been moments where her emotions nearly broke her down completely. But through every storm, she has found a way to hold on, proving that true strength is not about pretending everything is perfect, it is about standing tall in the middle of the storm and refusing to let it destroy you. The tears we see today are the result of years of pressure, grief, responsibility, and sacrifice finally breaking through. They are not a sign of weakness, they are a release. They are proof that even the strongest woman has moments when the weight of the world feels unbearable. And yet, those tears also serve as a cleansing. They remind Kandi, and everyone watching her, that vulnerability is not failure. To cry is to be human. To admit pain is to be brave. And to share that pain with the world is to turn personal suffering into collective strength. What makes Kandi Burruss so inspiring is not her wealth, not her fame, and not even her many business achievements. What makes her remarkable is her ability to remain human in a world that constantly pressures her to be more than human. She does not hide her scars, she wears them openly. She does not pretend to be untouched by life's storms, she allows us to see her weather them. And in doing so, she gives countless people permission to embrace their own struggles without shame. Think about it. How many women are silently carrying grief while still raising families, running businesses, or working demanding jobs? How many mothers are smiling in public while crying in private? How many daughters are trying to keep peace in families that feel divided? Kandi's story resonates because it is not just her story, it is a mirror for so many others who feel unseen in their pain. By sharing her tears, Kandi validates theirs. She shows them that they are not alone, and that strength does not mean pretending everything is okay. Her legacy, therefore, extends far beyond her music or her television presence. Kandi's true legacy lies in her ability to transform personal heartbreak into lessons of resilience. Her life teaches us that no matter how successful you become, life will still test you. Money cannot buy peace. Fame cannot erase loss. But love, determination, and courage can carry you through even the darkest nights. Her children will grow up not just knowing their mother as a star, but as a woman who fought through unimaginable pain and still stood tall. They will remember her not only for the empire she built but for the lessons she taught about perseverance, honesty, and self-worth. They will carry those lessons into their own lives, making her sacrifices meaningful in ways that last for generations. And for her fans, Kandi will always be remembered as someone who dared to live openly and honestly, flaws and all. She is proof that strength and vulnerability can exist together, that a woman can cry and still be powerful, and that true beauty lies in the courage to keep moving forward no matter how many times you stumble. As this chapter of Kandi's journey unfolds, one thing is certain: her tears do not mark an ending. They mark a continuation of a story that is still being written. A story filled with moments of heartbreak, yes, but also with triumphs that will inspire for years to come. She is still standing. She is still fighting. And most importantly, she is still shining, even when the world tries to dim her light. So let us remember Kandi Burruss not just as a singer, songwriter, businesswoman, or reality star. Let us remember her as a woman who has lived through pain and kept her heart open, who has faced betrayal and still chosen love, who has lost deeply but continues to give. Her journey teaches us that no matter what we go through, we can rise again. And her tears, far from being a sign of defeat, are proof of the incredible strength that comes from being real. Kandi Burruss has carried herself for years as someone who could handle anything, but the truth is, no one can escape life's battles untouched. What we see now is a woman whose heart has endured heavy blows, whose responsibilities have weighed her down, and whose tears are not weakness but a testimony of how much she has endured. The reality is that pain does not disappear when you succeed. It lingers quietly in the background, showing up when you least expect it. For Kandi, every public smile has been paired with private moments of reflection, and every achievement has carried a shadow of struggle. This is what makes her tears meaningful. They are not staged, not for cameras, but a release of emotions she has carried for far too long. When you live under constant pressure, surrounded by expectations, it's easy to lose yourself. For Kandi, the weight has been more than just career obligations. She has been the glue in her family, the provider, the nurturer, and the peacemaker. But holding everything together often means setting aside your own feelings until they can no longer be contained. That is what we witnessed the moment when her heart finally spoke louder than her composure. Her tears remind us that resilience is not about being unshaken. It is about allowing yourself to feel the pain and still choosing to get back up. It is about crying, admitting that life is unfair, and then facing another day with determination. Kandi has shown time and time again that even when she is broken down, she will rebuild herself, brick by brick, piece by piece. It is important to remember that what we see on television is only a fragment of her life. Cameras capture drama, but they don't capture the quiet nights when she reflects on loved ones she has lost. They don't capture the silent prayers for her children's future. They don't capture the exhaustion of fighting battles no one else sees. Those are the hidden chapters of her story, and those are the moments that make her tears resonate with so many. She is not just a celebrity. She is a woman who has lived through heartache and kept going. She is someone who has carried grief and responsibility on her shoulders while still showing up for others. And that is what makes her story one that touches people far beyond the world of entertainment. Kandi's tears are also a message to anyone struggling silently. They say, you are not alone. You do not have to pretend to be strong all the time. You are allowed to feel, to break, to cry. And even in those moments, you are still worthy, still powerful, and still capable of overcoming what seems impossible. Her journey proves that strength comes in many forms. Sometimes it's building businesses, sometimes it's protecting family, and sometimes it's simply allowing yourself to fall apart. Each stage of her life has taught her something new, and those lessons now inspire thousands who watch her story unfold. Looking at where she is now, it's clear that her path is far from over. The tears may have fallen, but they will not drown her spirit. Instead, they will water the seeds of her next chapter. Every time life has challenged her, she has come back stronger, wiser, and more determined than before. There is no reason to believe this time will be any different. Her fans admire her not because she is perfect, but because she is real. She does not hide her scars, she allows the world to see them. She does not cover her emotions with fake smiles, she shares them openly. That authenticity is rare, and it is what sets her apart. So, as this chapter closes, let's remember Kandi Burruss not just for her achievements, but for her courage to be human in front of the world. Her tears are a reminder that even the strongest hearts need rest, even the bravest souls need comfort, and even the most powerful women need space to heal. Kandi has proven that pain does not define you, how you respond to it does. And her response has always been to rise again, no matter how many times life has tried to pull her down. That is her true legacy. That is what makes her unforgettable. Her story does not end with sorrow. It continues with resilience, with hope, and with the promise that no matter how dark the night, the morning always comes. And when it does, Kandi Burruss will be there standing tall, stronger than before, and ready to face whatever comes next. When you live under constant pressure, surrounded by expectations, it's easy to lose yourself. For Kandi, the weight has been more than just career obligations. She has been the glue in her family, the provider, the nurturer, and the peacemaker. But holding everything together often means setting aside your own feelings until they can no longer be contained. That is what we witnessed the moment when her heart finally spoke louder than her composure. Her tears remind us that resilience is not about being unshaken. It is about allowing yourself to feel the pain and still choosing to get back up. It is about crying, admitting that life is unfair, and then facing another day with determination. Kandi has shown time and time again that even when she is broken down, she will rebuild herself, brick by brick, piece by piece. It is important to remember that what we see on television is only a fragment of her life. Cameras capture drama, but they don't capture the quiet nights when she reflects on loved ones she has lost. They don't capture the silent prayers for her children's future. They don't capture the exhaustion of fighting battles no one else sees. Those are the hidden chapters of her story, and those are the moments that make her tears resonate with so many. She is not just a celebrity. She is a woman who has lived through heartache and kept going. She is someone who has carried grief and responsibility on her shoulders while still showing up for others. And that is what makes her story one that touches people far beyond the world of entertainment. Kandi's tears are also a message to anyone struggling silently. They say, you are not alone. You do not have to pretend to be strong all the time. You are allowed to feel, to break, to cry. And even in those moments, you are still worthy, still powerful, and still capable of overcoming what seems impossible. Her journey proves that strength comes in many forms. Sometimes it's building businesses, sometimes it's protecting family, and sometimes it's simply allowing yourself to fall apart. Each stage of her life has taught her something new, and those lessons now inspire thousands who watch her story unfold. Looking at where she is now, it's clear that her path is far from over. The tears may have fallen, but they will not drown her spirit. Instead, they will water the seeds of her next chapter. Every time life has challenged her, she has come back stronger, wiser, and more determined than before. There is no reason to believe this time will be any different. Her fans admire her not because she is perfect, but because she is real. She does not hide her scars, she allows the world to see them. She does not cover her emotions with fake smiles, she shares them openly. That authenticity is rare, and it is what sets her apart. So, as this chapter closes, let's remember Kandi Burruss not just for her achievements, but for her courage to be human in front of the world. Her tears are a reminder that even the strongest hearts need rest, even the bravest souls need comfort, and even the most powerful women need space to heal. Kandi has proven that pain does not define you, how you respond to it does. And her response has always been to rise again, no matter how many times life has tried to pull her down. That is her true legacy. That is what makes her unforgettable. Her story does not end with sorrow. It continues with resilience, with hope, and with the promise that no matter how dark the night, the morning always comes. And when it does, Kandi Burruss will be there standing tall, stronger than before, and ready to face whatever comes next.